We decided to head north this year and escape some of the southern heat and humidity, especially since it's predicted to be a higher than normal hurricane season, and made our way to Ohio. Hey folks, welcome to the Down the Road Travel Channel. My name is Will Van Winkle. When we were planning our summer vacation, we needed something that would appeal to teens, be affordable, and less humid and hot than heading to Florida or Texas. So we began looking around and we stumbled upon Kings Island, part of the Cedar Fair group, which recently merged with Six Flags. Looking into tickets, we found that for less than a few days at Disney, we could get a season pass. And with King Island being only about 4 hours from Nashville, we made the plunge and bought the season pass. Now, there are several different types of season passes, so this was just the beginning of the benefits of what we're going to talk about here. There are several types offered. We did purchase the Gold Pass, added the All Parks Pass, All Season Dining Pass, which allows you to get 2 meals per day, as long as they're 4 hours apart. And then we also got the souvenir bottle, allowing for free refills every 15 minutes at specified locations, coming to a grand total of $459. That's a lot for little. With the Gold Pass, we also have some benefits, and we'll talk about those in a minute. So because we have the All Parks Pass, we can visit Great America in California, Canada's Wonderland in Ontario, Carowinds in North Carolina, Valley Fair in Minnesota, Cedar Point Sports Center, and Cedar Point Shores in Ohio, World of Fun and Oceans of Fun in Missouri, Dorney Park in Pennsylvania, both Schlitterbahn water parks in Texas, Kings Dominion in Virginia, Knott's Berry Farm and Knott's Soak City in California, Sports Force Park in Ohio, Soak City in Ohio, Michigan Adventure, obviously that's in Oklahoma, and of course Kings Island also in Ohio. It's not a bad deal, especially considering the food and drink passes can be used at all parks as well. Because we did that, we felt the need to make a trip up to Kings Island Memorial Day weekend, when I found out that my job would be closed for the first time ever on that holiday. So being without kids that weekend, being that close, Dana and I saw the perfect opportunity to make a quick getaway. We found a spot at Camp Cedar less than a week before we wanted to go, and on a holiday weekend. So we figured that was a sign that we needed to go. So we booked it and we headed up there. And I've got a review on Camp Cedar on our YouTube channel now, so be sure to go look for that. Now, as I mentioned, Cedar Fair and Six Flags have merged, and there's no word yet on whether or not Six Flags parks will be included in the Cedar Fair All Parks Pass, but we're keeping an eye on that, because that would make a total of something in the neighborhood of 40 plus parks nationwide, and that would be an amazing deal. But I am getting ahead of myself. Let's start at the beginning, getting to the park. From Camp Cedar, there's a shuttle. It starts at 9:30 a.m. Park entry is at 9:30. Season pass holders can begin riding at that time as well. And while it's only a short 5 to 10 minute drive, that already puts you behind others, and the shuttle is small. So we chose to drive. Parking costs $30 or $40 for preferred, $30 for regular, $40 for preferred, and regular parking is included with the Gold Pass. The Platinum Pass gets you, or Preferred Pass, I'm not sure which one it is. It starts with a P, we'll go with Platinum, but it gets you preferred parking as well. So now if your season pass hasn't been activated, you do have to pay for parking at the gate. However, hold on to the receipts, because if you go over to the ticket sales office, they will refund you your parking fee if you have a valid season pass. To activate your season pass, you just go to the park entrance. We thought you would go to the ticket sales office. So we headed over after we got our refund for parking. We headed over to the entrance. They took pictures and they linked everything to the pass. Now, in theory, you can link your pass to the app, but we just kept getting error messages, and they did just update the app this year, so I'm thinking there's still a few bugs in it. So it didn't matter if we tried to enter that manually or if we tried to scan it in, it just would not go. So after about 30 minutes of trying this, we gave up and just went over to guest services and had everything put onto a card. The card had our season pass, our all parks pass, our dining plan, and the drink plan is not necessarily attached to that. But when we went up, we didn't have to show them anything else. So I'm thinking they attached the drink plan to the card. But if you lose your all-season cup, you can't use the card to get another one. So I'm not really sure how that worked out, but it worked out. Now, if you don't buy the all-season dining plan or the all-season drink plan, you can get daily food and drink passes. These are sold on wristbands with a barcode. So it's not super efficient. It does slow the line down a little bit because, you know, when those things are getting wet because you're going on a water ride or you're sweating, or they get wrinkled because you're holding on to dear life for that 40-foot drop roller coaster, your hands may twist and it does wrinkle that. So it does make it a little less efficient than if it were like the magic bands at Disney, where it's all by a electronic rather than a visual barcode. So just know that if you're getting those, you may run into a couple of issues. We did see a few people that were going back to guest services because they weren't working, and that was already at 9:30 a.m. before the park officially opened. Our first stop, though, after we got everything on the card, after we got our passes, after we got our parking refunded, we stopped at the new Camp Snoopy. This is the first right once you get out of the entry. Once you come into the park, you make that first right, and it'll take you to Camp Snoopy, which is an expansion of Planet Snoopy. This part of the park is new for 2024. As you might expect, it is for smaller visitors. Here you can find Snoopy's Soapbox Derby racers with a minimum height of 38 inches, 48 to 80 inches to ride alone on this 36-mile-an-hour top speed junior coaster with a height of 73.5 feet. Beagle Scout Acres is a small play area if you or your kid need a break from the rides, but your kid still has some energy to get out. This is a nice shaded play area with no height requirements at all. There's a carousel here. If you are any taller than 5 feet, you must be accompanied by a child under 5 foot tall. Charlie Brown's Wind Up, Franklin's Flyers, the Kite Eating Tree, Linus Launcher, Linus's Beetle, Bugs, Snoopy versus the Red Baron, Charlie Brown's Rushing River Log Ride. They all have 36-inch height requirements. And the Woodstock Express. Now this is listed as a level 4 thrill wooden roller coaster. I was surprised personally at the speed and some of the drops. I was expecting it to be boring, but it was a lot of fun, although really short. Now you must be 40 inches or taller, 46 inches or taller if you want to ride alone, which we did due to the smaller seats. I don't know why it was listed as a thrill ride, maybe for the kids, maybe they should have different ratings on the thrill rides, but as far as a kid ride, I'd consider it a thrill ride. Now, obviously, we didn't ride every one of these rides. We wanted to at least take a look at Camp Snoopy, and as we were leaving, we stopped by Boo Blasters. Boo Blasters has a 42-inch height requirement, whether you ride accompanied or alone. I have no idea why. It's a dark ride shooting game. So as you're riding through it, you shoot at targets and characters jump. More like slowly emerge from behind whatever they're hiding behind. This is assuming your gun works. Now, Dana's did not work at all. The entire time that we were on the ride, her gun did not work. Mine didn't start working until about halfway through. So it's in need of a little bit of repair. If you're a Disney person, think Buzz Lightyear meets Haunted Mansion, or Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, the shooting game, meets Haunted Mansion, just a little cheesier. It is a dark ride. No, we're going to use quotes here. So it does get you out of the sun for a few minutes, but unless you're hot or have a kid that just really, really wants to do it, you can skip it. We'll probably go on it again when we get there at the end of June. Actually, by the time we're there again, this video should be online. So we'll probably ride it again when we go there because the kids did not get to go on. Dana's kids did not get to go on it. But if we were going by ourselves again, personally, I would skip this one. The characters, the painting is cheesy. It's all pretty much day glow paint. The ride is slow. There's very little entertainment value in my personal opinion. If your gun works, it could be a very fun shooting game competition between the two people in the cars. but our guns did not work very well. So I can't guarantee or even believe that the guns will work when we go back. So now, even though Camp Snoopy / Planet Snoopy is geared towards kids, some rides have height requirements, some do not. Some have them where you can allow the kid to ride alone, and some don't. So also, if you're an adult who isn't into the thrill rides, there are a few things for you to do here, so it may be worth a visit for you. Now, this is a cool little feature that I thought pretty much every park in America, or in the world for that matter, should do. If you're not 100% sure of your child's height and if they can ride anything or not, to the left of the entrance and in Camp Snoopy, there are booths set up where they will measure your little thrill seeker. And they assign a little color-coded wristband to streamline those checks, save you from wasting time in a line for an attraction that you absolutely cannot ride. So it's a big time saver. It cuts down on waiting in line, both for your party, if you have small children, and for the other parties around you. I think it's a great idea. I think pretty much every park should do this. I just think it makes sense. Color code the rides, and you know before you even step foot in that line whether or not you can go on the ride with your kid. It's a great idea. Heading back towards the rest of the park now. Either side, there's restaurants, there's souvenir shops. The souvenir shops are a little weird. They didn't really seem to have much to do with Kings Island. There's a huge Squishmallow store, and we have a Squishmallow nut in our group, and I have a feeling she's going to be going in there. But none of the items had really anything to do with Kings Island, so I'm not really sure the point of it. It's just extra money for them, I guess. I'm not real sure. The games, they did have some games with some prizes that were related to the parks. We were getting thirsty, so we decided to find a drink kiosk to get our season cup. So with the drink cup, as I said, you have the all-season drink cup. That's this guy right here. And you notice a little barcode, and that's how they tell if it's time for you to get your drink again. This is pretty flimsy. It's not dishwasher safe. It's very thin. See how thin that is. It's absolutely not insulated. You can squish it and squeeze it. And this is just kind of seems like a somewhat fragile sticker. And the reason I'm pointing all this out is because you're supposed to be able to use this all season long at every park, and it is such poor quality that you have to be super careful with it, because if you scratch that barcode, they won't be able to read it, and I don't know if you'd be able to get a replacement. Now, in comparison, this is Universal's cup. And Legoland also has pretty much the same setup, where it is a very thick cup. It is insulated. There's an RF chip in there right here. You take it up to the freestyle machines, and then it knows if it's time for you to get another drink or not. So if you're going to have something that you need to use all season, typically you're going to want something a little bit more sturdy and not have to worry about whether or not you're scratching it. Because you're carrying it around by this handle all the time, it can bump into stuff. Or, you know, if you hook it to a belt loop or something like that, it can bump into stuff, and it can scratch, and then you may not be able to get a drink for the rest of the day. So I think they kind of skimped on this in comparison with other parks that do offer the free refill cups. It is good because you do have the drink and you can get it refilled everywhere, but it is bad because it is such poor and low quality. It did take some searching with the app not really being operational. We did find one near Banshee. Banshee is a level 5 thrill coaster with inversions, 167-foot lift, dive, loop, zero gravity roll, batwing inversions, and so many more vomit-inducing features for some. Okay, me. It's all at 68 miles per hour. Banshee has a 52-inch minimum height and 78-inch maximum. The only thing missing here is a reverse section, but don't worry, there are plenty of rides that have those. But I digress. Back to the drinks. We stood in a long line, probably the longest of the day, and this was the Sunday before Memorial Day. So we were pleasantly surprised by the lack of line and the fact that we didn't need the fast lane pass. When we got our cups, again, we were a little disappointed. They were thin, not quite like Sam's Club water bottle thin, but maybe like a Dasani water bottle. The park boasts freestyle machines. We only found two places with multiple machines. One of them was by M&I Railroad, and that was closed. And one was by Cargo Loco. And these were the only places where we could find the freestyle machines. So the rest of it was just installed fountains. We have to go to somebody that works there, get your cup refilled. And I found that the mix was a little off, carbonation versus sugar, so everything was a little sugary except for at the freestyle machines, which were tasted correctly. The ice does melt quickly in these cups, so your drink becomes watered down fairly quickly. Sodas get flat, so they're not the best cups. I would personally, if you can, drink it quickly and then save the ice to munch on or something. I don't really know what to do with the situation. Maybe I'll try to get like a neoprene sleeve or something to put around the cup, but it's not the best cup in the world. Before our Memorial Day trip, by the way, Kings Island offers military discounts for groups of up to 6 people. But before the trip, we read up on the park and we saw that no backpacks were allowed. We get to the park, I see many people carrying backpacks. Now, most of them were heading over towards the water park. So, it's probably towels and swimsuits and things like that they were going to need for their day. After seeing the backpacks, I decided to search the rules and regulations again, and I found that backpacks are subject to search. So that means at some point they changed the rule, but there's still 2 sets of rules out there. So if you find the old rule that says no backpacks allowed, just know backpacks are allowed in the park, but they are subject to search. And to be honest, if you can't bring in food and drinks, again, outside food and drinks are still prohibited unless you have special dietary needs that you can prove at the customer relations area. You can't bring in outside food or drinks. So unless you are going at some time where, you're expecting rain and you maybe want a change of shoes or something like that, or you're going to the water park, so you're going to need bathing suits or towels or anything, maybe sunscreen. To be honest, this park isn't that big, and you're not carrying a lot of stuff around with you. I did not see the need for a backpack. A good pair of cargo shorts with the extra pockets would be great. A fanny pack is fine. The backpack, it just seemed unnecessary to me. As we wandered around the parks, we hit a few rides here and there, but mostly we're just trying to get our bearings and use their app. It was recently updated and it didn't quite have all the kinks worked out yet. Hopefully when we go back, we'll have a different outlook on that and we'll have more information on the app, but I'm not super optimistic about that. We did figure out by looking at menus, I guess it's a fork and knife symbol. This is what you can order with the meal plan, and that's every 2 meals per day, 4 hours apart. If you have the snack plan, look for anything with the S beside it, and that's included in the snack and dining plan where you can get something for, I think it's like every 90 minutes or something like that. Midday, we left to avoid rain. It was supposed to be heavy storms, so we returned later in the evening to ride some more and to get dinner because, we had that dining pass. Why go somewhere else? We paid for the dining pass, so we really, really wanted to use it. And that particular trip for us, everything was paid for except for the campground because we had already purchased this for our summer vacation. So we figured just why not? Now, moving from area to area, we found some old nostalgic attractions. I remember from growing up in Houston and visiting the long deceased Astroworld. These things like old time cars. Not a must do, but it brings back memories. Whitewater Canyon. It's cold too. Oh my God, is it cold? Ah, your turn.
Oh, Jesus, it's really cold.
46-inch height requirement, and you'll likely get wet, especially since our employees controlling these water cannons. I guess it would be the best description of them. Reminiscent of Thunder River back at Astroworld. So this brought back a lot of old memories. The game area even brought back some old memories of growing up in Houston and visiting Astroworld. So Astroworld was Six Flags owned. Cedar Fair, or Kings Island rather, was not Six Flags owned until last year, and they already had a lot in common. So the merger just makes a lot of sense. We did hit the train to go take a look at the water park. Couldn't see much from the train, so we rode it back around to K&I Station. At some point, we walked through that gaming area. Again, those prices were a little sad. We also hit the Backlot Stunt Coaster and Adventure Express. Backlot Stunt Coaster. It was originally based on the movie The Italian Job. Now, I didn't read anything about these rides before going because it was kind of a last minute. Backlot stunt was fun. I did not expect the 0 to 40 mile per hour in 3 seconds. That's how it took off. I didn't expect the 90-degree kind of loop that puts you parallel to the ground 45 feet below you. It was fun. Probably not a level 5 thrill that it's rated at because, well, I could handle it, but it was a lot of fun. There's a 48-inch height requirement and a 300-pound maximum weight. It was a fun ride. My butt left the seat a couple of times because of the loops and things like that. It's not a must-do for some people. If you like those bigger coasters, you're not going to really like this one. But if you like the smaller stuff and you don't like going backwards and you don't like going upside down, this is probably a good one for you. We also hit the Adventure Express. Here you end up on an abandoned track for a wild ride. It's not a lot of dips and drops or anything like that, but it's also short. It could be compared to Disney's, say, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, but it's shorter and it's a little bit slower. It was okay, and we're pretty much able to just walk on. It's a 48-inch height requirement, and keep in mind it is a little jerky. So you want to check the ride through videos before going on it. Kings Island has some. I've seen some other ones posted. I think I even have one of that one up. If you have neck issues, if you have back issues, you may want to double check this one because it could be a bit much and cause some stiffness. But otherwise, it's a fun ride. I mean, it's not exciting, it's not thrill-seeking, it's not vomit-inducing, but it's fun. We saw in Vertigo, 54-inch to 78-inch height requirement with heights of 138 feet, speeds of 55 miles an hour. Riders sit facing each other. Unless they're in front or back, obviously, then they're facing nothing. This crazy-looking thing takes you through 3 inversions, returns the way it came. So no matter which way you face, you're going to experience riding that ride in reverse at some point. I feel I need to point out that prosthetics must be discussed with ride operators, and foot and leg prosthetics are not allowed. That should tell you a little something about this ride. So can you just imagine walking down by the in Vertigo, and suddenly you get kicked in the head with a shoe, but you pick the shoe up to discover there's an entire fake foot in there. Well, that's why they don't want you wearing prosthetic legs or feet on this ride. There are many rides we didn't get to. We did see some that looked like they were taken from a carnival and just permanently placed at Kings Island at some point. Both Dana and I looked and said nope to certain rides, but when the kids are there, they will like them. Especially if you have those thrill-seeking kids, they're going to love some of these rides. But there really is something for everybody here. That being said, after 4 p.m., 2 p.m. on Saturdays, anybody under the age of 15 must be accompanied by a chaperone over 21. This policy may be enforced earlier on busier days. Now, it does say that the chaperone doesn't have to be with the minor at all times, just in the park and reachable by phone. So that means, for example, if you're on a ride and your kid is being a bit of a jerk, you cannot be reached and the kid could be ejected from the park. So take that for what you will. I think what they're expecting is for the chaperone to kind of just hang out by the cafes or the games or something like that, ride the rides with the kids, or wait for them off the rides so that they can get in touch with them, not go ride the rides without the kids and leave the kids to wander the park. I think they expect it to be the other way around. Knowing why Astroworld, one of the reasons that Astroworld in Houston closed was people were treating it like a daycare, dropping their kids off, and those kids were beginning to cause issues. Well, Kings Island is taking steps to combat that, to keep that from happening. So they also have things posted throughout the park. If you see this kind of behavior, if you see people jumping lines, using profanity, mistreating other guests, anything like that, to report it. And if they get more than one report, I think it's only 2 reports on that one person, that person will be found and pulled from the park. And they're trying to keep it as a family environment. So I understand, you want to go out there, you want to have fun, and maybe you'll be saying some things that maybe escape your mouth that you don't mean to escape your mouth. But you also have to be aware of your surroundings. We did enjoy ourselves. And Dana's kids are looking so forward to going on this because it has the bigger roller coasters, a lot bigger than what Disney provides. The park is on the smaller side, and if lines are as short as they were on Memorial Day weekend, can be done in half a day if you don't want to spend the entire day there. Camp Cedar being 1.3 miles away, we found it easy to leave and return, and we'll probably do something similar while we're there on this trip, or on our next trip. If you enjoy the original music that I've used in the background, you can find that on your favorite streaming app or right here on YouTube. Make sure you like, comment, even share our content with your friends, and subscribe. I hope you enjoy your trip to Kings Island, and I hope this video helps you make some decisions on some things that you can hit, some things you can miss, and how to handle those drinks and dining plans. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you down the road.
Let's hit the road.